everybody, and welcome to Hex Token Channel. Your host, Superman in the house. And man, we're going to have a great show. And of course, it's going to be a lot of fun. We had Richard Hart, of course, has done an interview with Ivan on Tech, and even better than the Hexologist one, which I thought was, we got a couple of good gold nuggets from the Hexo one on last Saturday. And of course, this one, Ivan Tech, was really, really good, and really good tone, good feel, good pace. Yeah, really, really nice. So very, very cool interview. Hope you guys are going to enjoy it. I've done a highlight summary video, so hopefully that's really cool. I will post this highlight video summary on the channel afterwards, so you don't have to watch the whole Ivan on Tech if you don't have the time, so you can just jump to that. That'd be pretty cool. Let's get into the chat and say hello, folks. Couple people in the house already. We've got BC in the Matrix. Yeah, boy. Good to see you, BC. Ted's in there as well. Hey, everybody. Pulsechain by the end of the year. I don't know. Let's put a poll up for that. Let's put a poll up for that. Let me just Pulsechain launch. Let's see what people think. Now, I've heard a few different things here and there. So let me know what you guys think. What month is it? October. Let's presume it's not October. Let's go. Let's go November, I guess. November 22. Oh, I don't need to put 22, I guess. Oh, yes, I do. 22. Let's put it in anyway. And let's go December 22. Let's go January 22 or 23, right? So, or we'll go last one. Let's go February to April. How about that? February to April 23. How about that? I think that's pretty cool. All right, cool. Let us, let's get into that poll, folks. Let's see what the results are later on. Obviously, some people have heard certain things from certain people, and, you know, this is the way it goes. So, cool. What else there? Big welcome from Hex Token Channel. Welcome, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe on the way in. Smash that like button as well. Hit the bell for future videos, and of course, hit the link in the video description to get into our Discord. We're heading up to 850 members, and of course, we've been doing a lot of onboarding for Pulsechain and Hex, so that's pretty cool. You're going to see us do that in different ways, and so it's going to be very, very exciting. And yeah, so some of the obvious ways you think are obvious are not actually the best ways to onboard people. So you'll be seeing some interesting different things on that way, and of course, we want people to get involved in the best crypto and on the planet with the Richard Hart project. So it's going to be pretty fun. And you might see a lot of YouTubers out there doing a lot of different things that you don't quite expect them to be doing in our Pulsechain Hex space, but they're onboarding new users. So look forward to that. It's going to be pretty exciting. Very, very cool. Katie's in house there. Very excited. Definitely very excited. And of course, the Blobfish King in the house there. Woohoo! Listen to Richard Hart on Ivan on Tech. If the highest of stakes premiers in December, I think Pulsechain must launch beforehand. So there we are from Blobfish King. Very bullish near-term view there. And of course, what else there? Ross Z's in house. Had lots of updates. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, we had been missing a lot of updates, and it would be nice to get some regular updates. So I think that's pretty cool. OKX at the launch would be huge. Yes, Ross Z. Yeah, big, big, big. And of course, hello, how are you today? Lies beneath in the house there. Hex, EHEX, PLS, and PLSX for the win. That's correct. That is the maxi strategy on this channel. We often talk about other projects, but really we're thinking about 90-95% in the Richard Hart ecosystem, and maybe 5 to 10% speculating out in some of the good probability projects, right? And maybe a few speculative projects in there too. This is crypto after all. So that's kind of the general strategy of this channel. And the Lies Beneath brings it every time. Kato's in house there. Hey, everybody. Hope all is good. Good to see you, Kato. And Katie as well. Woohoo! Genuine. Good to see you, Genuine. Good morning, everybody from Genuine. Christian's in there as well. What's good? Familiar. And of course, great to see everybody. BNBP pumping as well. Yeah, that's the other thing. So we had a really terrific update from Richard Hart on Ivan on Tech, and we've got BNB Pot. As you know, I've got 3 projects which I say I think are the big plays at the moment. And of course, the 2 probable plays are Hedron and PLSD. And then, of course, the possible play with the world's first innovation in the space for Pulsepot, which is going to be amazing. The best gamification I've seen out there, and of course, real DeFi, right? If you want to call it into that DeFi family, it's really like GameFi, but we'll just broaden that out. And that, of course, the price has absolutely soared since I've been talking about it as well. Very, very good. So a lot of people have done very well, and I suspect there's a bit of a long way to go there, and lots of different opportunities. I'll be right, says Lies Beneath. I think you will be too, Lies. I think you will. All right, so cool. Let's get into it. We're going to be covering the Pulsechain updates from Richard Hart. We're going to jump into crypto, the stock market. We're going to get into Hex ecosystem prices. We're then going to jump over to Pulsechain projects. And, of course, BNB Pot's included in that. We're going to talk about Maximus, of course, with the Hedron bidding for Hex exercise stakes. And, of course, we're going to cover Zen at the end with the updates for the 2 new chains that launched yesterday. We're going to briefly update on those numbers and any updates there. And, of course, we're going to talk about the Hex daily stats as well. So lots of stuff for everybody. It's going to be a lot of fun. But let's get into the main event. I think, well, we've got 2 main events, actually. The Pulsechain update and BNB Pot, I think, are 2 amazing things. So let's get into it, folks. We've got, obviously, Richard tweeted this out 9 hours ago, live with Richard Hart win in 10 minutes from Ivan on Tech. Ivan on Tech's got a huge audience, 391,000 followers on Twitter and a big audience on YouTube and other platforms. So amazing. He is a developer as well as a crypto influencer. And, of course, very, very cool. So let's get into it, folks. This was the update. And, of course, this is the full video. I will post that in the chat there if you haven't seen the full video on Ivan on Tech. It's an hour and 40 minutes long, so you can check that out. But I am going to summarize it on this here. So let's get into it, folks. Before we, let's not muck around. Let's get into the Pulsechain update. I will try and leave a timestamp after the video as well. Let's go.
Inside, let's see. Are there any updates on tokenomics for the incentive token for LP?
No.
On Pulsex.
By the way, I've sped up the voices, so hopefully you like the pace. This is the pace that I like listening to videos to. So hopefully you guys like this pace because it's very, very important. All right, let's go. Oh, let's add that again. Yeah.
Like basically the devs are just, we're going to massage up the throughput a little bit and we're going to massage up the gas a little bit and it should be fine because we've got lower like load anyway. And then we're going to burn 25% of the fees net so that you have much more burn than Ethereum has. And then I'll feel very happy. Everyone gets to new coins, higher throughput, cheaper fees, valid and secure consensus network as audited as exists in the world, and that's where we're at. And the good thing is our code, like, because the merge it only changed, the merge offloaded certain parts of what Geth used to do to another EXE. And so like now when you're an ETH miner, you're a validator, you run 2 XEs, you run Geth and you run this other one. And so because it's isolated in that way, all of our code for like handling, injecting system state, it's still valid. So that's great. So this, you would think that it would like make it longer to market because you're switching to ETH 2.0, but it actually makes it shorter to market because those audits are done and that consensus network is working live. And,
but so the testnet, which is live now, that's still a fork of Binance Chain.
That's still, yes, correct.
Right.
And the V3 testnet that you're going to see come up is going to be a fork of the real mainnet Ethereum.
Yeah, and there you will massage the throughput. You're going to increase the burn of each fee.
Exactly. So we're going to burn the 20. So whatever you would have received as a validator, we're going to burn 25% of that. Now I need to make sure there's no little edge cases because it's a little bit complicated, all this stuff, right, with slashing and everything. So I just have to make sure there's no edge cases. But like the general theme of we're just going to burn 25% of whatever you would receive net, and that's going to reduce supply. It's pretty valid, and I hope we don't run into edge cases with it.
And what kind of improvement do you think it will be in comparison to ETH when it comes to?
I would start at really minimalist with it. I mean, I would even be okay with not even like you should be able to do a 10% bump. You really should because the network's less loaded anyway because there's less users on it. So you should be able to bump the gas 10% and lower the transaction block times 10%. And those two compound to like an 11% gain, or no, like more than that. I think it's like a 21% gain. And so you'll have a 21% like higher throughput, but you'll have like infinitely lower costs because the majority of the lower cost comes from just having less users to start with. So, this idea that you need to increase throughput and lower block times to get lower costs is a little silly when like 99% of your lower cost is from just having less users. If you had the same number of users, then those would matter a lot. But if you have like 10x or 100x less users, those numbers don't matter as much.
Yeah, but users come quickly. We saw it with Binance Chain, for example. They come very quickly. All the bots, as soon as people start, there's now infinite amount of arbitrage. And if it's low fees, then you can do it more efficiently and you can act on more arbitrage. So the fees, as long as there is some activity and some trading.
Well, that's the thing is like, I think it almost might be, so because of those things that you just said, it kind of defeats the idea that higher throughput equals lower fees. Because those ARB bots will just suck up the extra space, making their ARBs a little bit more efficient. So like this idea that you're going to get lower fees with more space, you're like, yeah, a little, but the ARB bots fight it. Like they suck that space up with like stupid other stuff.
I mean, there's got to be a lot of interest from centralized exchanges. Is that something?
I mean,
that...
like OKX wants to list it, and I'm sure other exchanges want to list it too. They just want to see it in the real world, and especially in the bear market. You know, during the bear market, these guys are laying off staff left and right, doing anything they can to generate volume because they're losing money every day. They're not making money; they're losing money.
We have Enchanted again asking about the consensus, and if I want to be a validator, can I delegate, or I need?
It's different now. So you're not the delegation stuff. While awesome, it has some upsides because it removes that having to have 32E thing and like having to give some keys to somebody else and like having to run a server and all that stuff. We're not going to have that now. And there's probably some guys that like were set up servers and ready to do that. That just they're gonna have to find something else to do with that hardware right now because we're going to use the same consensus method that Ethereum 2.0 uses currently. So it's just better.
Yeah, and in ETH you have I don't remember what it's called, but you have these contracts that can pull together ETH and they can stay there.
If people are smart, they can buy down the central counterparty risk using those methods you're talking about. But look, I'm not an expert on those, so I don't know whether they're really fake decentralized or real decentralized. You know, I hope they're really decentralized, but I've seen so much fake garbage in crypto that I'd have to look specifically into it. I want to get to market, right? Like I don't want to dick around with like changing parameters or adding features. I want to get to market. Like even if we get to market without massaging the gas and the block timing, if they're so easy, I think we can just do that. But if they weren't easy, I would just go straight copy and fix it later. Straight copy, fix it later. Let's go. Get to market. Let's go. Free coins. Free coins. Cheaper. Let's go. Free coins and cheaper is enough. Faster, great if you have it, but it's not mandatory. Like,
Exactant in the chat asks about the stablecoin value on Pulse. And
well,
if they are bridged,
USDC and USDT can invalidate all of the stablecoins on any fork because they have an admin key. But they didn't choose to do that on the ETHW fork. So cool. I think that the most commonly used stablecoin is going to be a bridged-in stablecoin until they launch a native version on the chain. So you can get native USDC on Tron, you can get it on Ethereum, you can get it on AVAX, I think. So like there's other chains that have native issued stablecoins. They just care that there's a working consensus network and users, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw native stable issued on Pulse from the same guys that have issued them on other chains.
Yeah, they issue it on Tron, they issue it on all kinds of chains. So it would make sense that they also expand as Pulse chain gets traction. But what we will see from the beginning are all the copied ones. What's the game theory going to be, you think, with stablecoins?
I really don't know. I don't know. I think that they'll have much lower value than the ones that are redeemable for real money. I think probably people will empty them for things that have more community traction. So you'll probably see people, I mean, look, my guess is you'd see people dump a lot of stables or copied stables on the Pulse chain. I think you'd see them dump for stuff that has probably traction like Pulse, PulseX, and Hex. Because like my guess is that those three coins in the beginning will have the largest communities just because I invented it and I also invented Hex. And so like all of those dudes that already kind of know me and my stuff, they would probably rather be in the stuff they like than in the stuff that they don't care about. So like, that's my guess. My guess is that you'll see people dump coins that don't have great adoption for coins that do. And then maybe if there's like great price opportunities from like things just being underpriced. Because like at some point, like my gut feeling is that same code, same ticker symbol, price of Link goes up on the Hex chain, probably price of Link goes up on the Pulse chain. My guess. Same code, same ticker. After maybe they flop around a while, maybe they start to move together at some ratio, you know? Just like, look, why is Ethereum moving around with Bitcoin? They do. Why is Bitcoin moving around with stocks? They do. And so stuff tends to like move around with other stuff. It's like similar. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw tickers on Pulse chain move around with more volatility than as a leverage position as the tickers on Ethereum. Except for like straight failures. Like if you have an admin key coin that just like uses their admin key to nuke a chain, and then you shouldn't be participating in that anyway, should you? Like, should you be participating in coins that have admin keys? It's not the greatest idea, you know. Like this one guy can come and take all your money whenever he wants. Sucks. I would avoid that if at all possible.
So someone was asking about the snapshot of the state, and is that going to be at some date in the future when there's more clarity on the tech, or you have some date?
It's a real fork. It's going to be a real fork. So there's some delay, there's some lag because it takes time to write to the database, but we'll probably announce a block height within a couple day window. Probably. I'm just guessing on that because like you always want to make sure no one can game anything by like knowing the timing. So people don't need to know an exact time. I don't think a range of times would be fine. It would even be fine if we didn't announce the time at all. I think, but you know, I think for some people they'd like to know time. So I'll probably give them like in this range we're trying to launch kind of thing. You know.
Makes sense.
Because maybe they want more of this one thing copied, and you know, because like, look, if you have your coins in a centralized exchange, you're not getting the copies. They are. I hate centralized exchanges. So like, it'd be better if you put the coins in your own wallet, got the copies yourself instead of giving that value for free away to the exchange that doxes you, makes you beg for your own money, etc. I hate exchanges, dude. Hate them.
How much will I need in order to stake?
32. Same. I don't see a reason to change that.
Does it have to be connected?
We're trying to change as few parameters as possible. They're known working good. I don't want to change anything if I don't have to.
Well, does it have to be connected to the dollar value that it's, or it doesn't matter if it's $1.30 or
Well, you can never tie it to a dollar value, or you have Oracle problem, central point of failure, scumbaggery. So it has to be native currency only, 32 ETH. You can never, in no blockchain can you ever tie something to a real dollar amount where you are a slave to whoever runs the server that tells you what a dollar's worth forever. I don't like that.
Yeah,
that's like robust, reliable.
That's if you need real time. But do you think when ETH picked 32, why 32? They probably looked at how much one ETH is worth, that it should be not $1 million, but also not like 5 cents, or is it fully disconnected?
Well, I hope that's not how they did it, because if that is how they did it, then I should change that number. I could go back and look at the EIPs and see like their logic on it. We could go and discover what their logic was on that, but I'd really rather just copy known good working things, because like you would actually prefer it to be cheaper, and it supports millions of validators out of the box. So like, I'll give it a night of thought. But like, what are we're not going to have 1 million validators off the bat. We're not going to have 1 million users off the bat. It'll take a while, you know. Like, you can always fix it later too. Like, we know it works now. Let's run with it. Let's go. We know it works now. If we start to get hiccups or any kind of weirdness, we'll fix it.
Franklin says, Richard, I used to work at Circle. They won't add USDC to Pulsechain unless they're able to KYC heavily. All the chains, with the exception of ETH, are centralized heavily. If you want to,
so KYC me, what do I give a fuck? You think I've never KYC'd before? Come get my docs, bro. I don't care. I've KYC'd before. You think I bought the fucking world's largest diamond without KYCing, bro? I didn't. But like, it really should hit 10 through 50. Really.
Nicole
really
is asking. Nicole is asking if we're gonna do 1,000x in the first 300 days, 65 days.
How do I know? Do I have a crystal ball? I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna do. Nobody does. It's not knowable. It could do something crazy, sure, but nobody knows what the probability of it is actually happening.
What about?
I mean, look, launching in a bear makes it more likely, right? Like, launching in a bear makes it easier to go up more.
Someone asked about Pulse X, and if there are any changes to liquidity incentivization. Let's see. Are there any updates on tokenomics for the incentive token for LP?
No.
On Pulse X?
Nope. No updates. You're gonna, there'll be rewards. If you like them, cool. If you don't, whatever. That's the black sheep token. That's the token I care the least about. I care about Pulse. I care about Pulse X, the incentive token. The incentive token that has not a name. It doesn't have a fucking name. That's how much I care about it. So like, it'll get a name. People will probably want it. Maybe they'll have a dog picture. Who knows? People like dog pictures. I care the least about that token.
Probably. Enchanted
small
says,
updates. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Basically, small updates. That's what she said. Small updates would be really appreciated, even if it's a tweet saying dev's still working. Can't wait for testnet.
Oh god, dude. Okay, duly noted, man. I got so burnt out about it when you guys savaged me from that one time estimate was given, and like, I got punished for that. I deserve to be punished for that. I'm jaded now. Like, I don't want to tell you guys nothing now because you like were so mean about that. I'm like, damn. Okay, well, I just won't tell you anything then. Like, you don't need to know nothing. I don't work for you. What's done was done.
Anyway, sorry, I just realized I had the audio off on my mic there. So that was pretty much the probably the best clips out of the highlights there. So about 10 minutes out of an hour and 40. I have sped up as I said at the beginning of the video, I sped up the audio so that it's fast to digest. So that's the way I like it. And of course, for a few people that might be a bit fast for them, but pretty cool. So yeah, very, very nice there. All right, so cool. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I will post it up after the live stream so people can check out a 10-minute summary or highlights of all the updates. But pretty exciting. So some of the key things, we will get a couple of days heads up from the looks of it when the snapshot gets taken. So that's very positive. A lot of people will be excited about that. He wants to launch fast. So he wants to get up fast. That might kind of gives us a sense of an earlier date than a later date. We will have a V3 testnet. So that all is confirmed again. And he originally said, I think on Hexo, that he wanted that to be short and tight. So that could be short. What does that mean? 3 weeks? I don't know. So we'll see what that means, but probably short in a couple of weeks is probably the kind of idea there. So yeah, they got to play that into your launch state because if that's going to happen, we definitely expect that. So big deal. Generally pretty good updates, I thought. So yeah, we've got the poll on at the moment. Let us know what you think about that. I've heard some people say that some dev has told some person, this kind of thing. maybe later in Q1, maybe Q1 or beginning of Q2 23. But yeah, he does have a sense of earlier. We'll see how we get on there. What else was pretty interesting out there? A little bit of Pulsex, not much about Pulsex really. The incentive token is going to do its thing. I personally think the incentive token is going to do pretty well because of the yield farmers. They're one of the big users, and they're going to bring a lot of the funds in. So yeah, I think that's probably pretty cool. Yeah, proof of stake validators. Obviously, 32 ETH equivalent, I guess, on a Pulsechain, which is I don't know my quick maths, maybe 38 billion or something like that. But of course, there will be, just like on ETH chain, they have you don't just need to spin up the code with the validator with 32 ETH equivalent. You probably will be opportunities to have shared pools where if you've got less pulse, you can go in and stake with somebody else that's doing that. So they do that on the ETH. So there'll be opportunity for that too. No doubt there'll be programmers probably like Dipcatcher or somebody like that that set up opportunities like that. I'm sure that's a possibility. Obviously, people like David Feather that bought software, stuff like that. Computer hardware and stuff like that. They're going to have to think a little differently about that. Maybe switch into maybe validated providing for the smaller players to be able to stake. Maybe that's an opportunity for them with that hardware. So interesting that Richard mentioned that. So that was pretty interesting. What else there? I think that's kind of it. Yeah, so sooner than later, validators, staking. What else there? 25% fee shaving. That's really the big change. So he wants to keep everything pretty similar. And the big change there, just trying to incorporate the 25% burn and to make it super fast deflationary on the Pulse chain there. Pretty cool. Stables, of course. Now, I think we underplayed the conversation on stables. We've talked about that on many times here. We already know there's 3 or 4 stable coins native to Pulsechain coming. I've done videos on that. And so that's pretty exciting. I think some of these established main players like USDC, USD Tether, we could see them coming on as well. Ethereum proof of work, of course. We see that operating with the stable coin now. And so, yeah, I think the players will capitulate. Centralized exchanges, of course, the OKX there, very exciting. And like I said to you guys many times, the exchanges will capitulate and they'll come on because they're after money. And a Pulsechain is going to be one of the biggest things in town. I think it's going to be the biggest thing in the next bull market. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, don't forget that Pulsechain is not just the chain itself, which is going to be great. They'll also be able to influence set the S load function for the Hex end stakes. That's going to be interesting. I haven't heard him mention much about that recently, but that's definitely what they'll be able to do. Maybe because obviously on the ETH chain, they've raised it like 8-9 times or something like that, as far as I remember. And of course, they'll be able to set that. So that's kind of the memory function for running through looping through the Hex rewards every day through your Hex stakes. And obviously that was originally the main catalyst for moving to doing another chain. Yeah, suspect that the S load function might be adjusted there. Be interesting to see what they do in that space. Obviously to lower the cost of end stakes there. So it's going to be fun to see too. And liquidity pools, probably expect obviously bullish about the Richard Hart tokens as we are. That's what we mainly talk about is those ultimately. And of course, getting adoption on the Pulsechain is the other thing that a lot of YouTubers are working on. They're all doing it in their own way, so that's cool. And yeah, pretty exciting though. I think that's getting better. It's a much simpler thing to do, right? It's a much simpler thing to do, just to fork the proof of stake rather than worry about the old BSC and a lot of issues that they were having on. It seems like they were definitely dragging on the project team. That's why we've got such a delay. And so I think we've got the best outcome happening now. Simpler, and he's not going to change much and keep that attack vector down, that ratio vector down. So pretty exciting. All right, cool. I think that's kind of it on that one. Let me know in the chat if there's any other highlights that you picked up. And sorry, I had my mute on earlier. So cool. All right, let's jump away from that. We're going to get into the Hex into the markets. This is ending Friday. So let's do that. Before I do that, okay, keep filling in the poll. We'll see what everyone thinks at the end. We'll talk about that. Let me just got a couple more comments in here. I'm just going to jump through some of these ones. We've got J-Man in the house there. Hello, J-Man. Good to see you. He wants to catch everybody surprised, says Christian. RH is the GOAT, says Katie. What else there? These clips are on fire, says Chance nicely. Yeah, I'll like I say, there's only one thing I had to fix up in there, and then I'll repost that short video after the live stream. Outstanding, super, says Shano. Hey, thanks for that. PSIs and house sets. The first time I've heard Richard Hart sound a bit desperate to get Pulsechain launched. Desperate is probably a bit strong, but you know what I mean. Hey, look, I think that he's been under a lot of pressure, and after the May, expectation that was set, even if he was passing on the info, he is the founder of the project. It's a bit of a sour taste in the mouth now. So definitely looking good moving forward though. And the last couple of updates, Hexos and Ivan on Tech, these are great. These are great move forward. So definitely very good work there. No expectations of work, but very good work there, as we say. DB Cooper in the house there. Woohoo! Good to see DB. Bob Wells as well. Good to see you as well, Bob. Your vote, Superman. I think he'll mirror Hex with an early December launch. Early December, yeah, December's kind of my earliest time frame at the moment. It's a December or January for me, so that's kind of where I'm sitting. But I have heard people talk about certain things and talk about a March, April launch, so which I'd rather not have. He is definitely talking sooner. So if I take Richard's indications, then maybe you'll get a V3. Now, if we can have a V3, it's hopefully we'll get it in November, right? If we get it in November, I'll be very bullish about a December launch. So that's kind of where we are at there. Sounding like Pulse is getting close. It will be so epic. I can't wait, says Tombos. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Well, Wells as well. Hello, everybody. Good to see Bob. Smash the like button. Definitely smash that. Check my pulse. What's up, Superman? Woohoo. Yeah, everything. Follow Hexkins one day closer, says check my pulse. Absolutely. Absolutely. And quantifiable correct there. Woohoo. Getting excited as well. Patman as well. Love the excitement in the chat, man. Awesome. And Marco the Hexkins in house there. Oh, God. Patman is here. Yeah, says Marco the Hexagon. That's pretty funny. And what's up, bro? Says Marco. Good to see you in the chat there, Marco. And Rothko says, congratulations to all PLS and PLSX sacrifices. It will pay to have waited this long. Hey, that's a good point. Here's what I want to talk about that. People are after, I've seen people talk about that because they're frustrating about how long it's taken. They talked about, oh, I want to sell my sacrifice. Now, I'm just letting you know, there'll be so many people that if they could easily buy it, they would buy your sacrifice for Pulse and PulseX. I would just be patient. Because you're probably going to give up the golden goose if you do that. So obviously not investment advice. Nothing on this channel is. But you're going to be pretty much, from my opinion, you're giving up the golden goose. And I'll just wait your time. Very few people actually have Pulse. If you think about it, there are some big sharks that I think will likely DC out in the early days, which is cool because you're going to need, if people want to buy, you're going to need some sellers. So we'll see some of that. There will be opportunities, some dips in the game. And, of course, we'll see some of the retail books sell out as well early on. And that gives opportunities for new players to come in. So there's going to be lots of opportunities for you. But if you've got that Pulse sacrifice, that's 3 times rarer than the Pulse X one. And the Pulse X one is now rare too. And we have lots of people coming along saying, I want Pulse and Pulse X. How do I get Pulse and Pulse X? And, of course, that's a big deal. Now, we'll be doing a video on how to get Pulse. One of the, I think, probably the best strategy, actually. So that's coming out. I did almost finished it yesterday. I've been trying to do it for 2 days or 3 days, and I keep getting distracted with a lot of stuff that's going on. So just the way it goes. This channel is focused on doing a lot of onboarding into Pulsechain, and we're doing, and so are a lot of other channels out there. Everyone's doing it in their own way, so I'm not too concerned how they do it. Generally speaking, so it's just about building up the community, especially in this bear market where engagement's relatively low. So it's a very, very good idea. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Very cool. What else there? Marco says, going around showing support to channels today. Hey, good to see you. And we appreciate the support as well. Scott Jackson's in the house there. Is there a safe way to buy and take over someone's sacrifice? Well, the only one that we know of officially doing it that I'm aware of is Rack and Michelle Overwatch, the billionaire. And of course, he is got lawyers to help do that. And of course, I guess you're going to have to get your C phrase passed over and change passwords and all sorts of stuff. So definitely is possible if you've got the setup to do it. So yep. It's like giving up the golden goose though. People are after. People have been coming for months and months, and it just keeps growing. And of course, man, people are after their Pulse. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Hex, check my pulse says, let's go. Hex go says, check my pulse. And J-Man says, hello, Superman. Yeah. So, Cryptophile says, I would think no. Yeah, generally speaking, no, unless you've got some lawyers and way of processing that. And then it's got its own potential risks. Rothko says, amazing work with your wallets and other merch you're making with your bare hands, bro. Much respect to Marco there from Rothko. Very nice, Rothko. And very cool. Well, let's get into it, folks. We've got the latest date that's here. Let's get into it. Appreciate that, says Marco. Nice one. All right, let's get into it. Stock market update. Let's go. This is the Friday, the last day of the week. We had a pretty good week, actually, in the stock market, despite the inflation rate at 8.2% that came in. We got the Dow Jones, the top 30 industrials. That's at 29,634. That's down 403%. So a bit of a down day on Friday, down 1.34%. The S&P 500 down 86 points or 2.4%, down 3,583. We got the NASDAQ with a lot of the tech companies in it, down 3%. So a big day on the techs there. That's a big increase. Obviously, we're wanting to avoid the big 7-8% decreases. This is when the market is just diving and dying. So we're getting still heavy decreases, 3% still a heavy decrease, but it's the 7 or 8% days where they go bam, 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 bam. Those are the crashes that we're trying to avoid. So at the moment we're still holding up, but you can see it's going inevitably on the stock market. At least it looks like it's going to keep going down. We've got the NASDAQ there at 10,321. The S&P there up 0.25% to 32. The dollar index there up 1% versus trading part at 113. Now, here's the bullish scenario. And the bullish scenario is that in November, we get a 75 basis points. I know it doesn't sound bullish. November is going to be rough, okay? It's going to be volatile and rough. If you think we've already had rough, it's going to be rough. But I think that if December, we get a 50 basis points and then a 25% basis points in February next year, and we stop there. That will, I think the market can handle that, and then we can get that bull market rising. But of course, we may get a 50 basis points in November too, if they play the November midterms. Because if you look at a lot of policies coming out of the Fed, they're not neutral. They're to the current administration, so we'll see how they play that out, and whether their hawkishness is as strong as it's going to be. But that's kind of, I feel, the play. They're targeting 4.5% on the federal funds rate. And of course, they want to get inflation down to about 2%. Remember, they got a dual target of inflation, low inflation, and of course, employment, high employment there. So those are the two trade-offs there. But obviously, they're going to have to trade off employment and GDP, which they're expecting to potentially have a harder landing to hit that inflation rate. So they think that that's a net benefit. Obviously, they've moved late. Remember, they were saying that inflation was going to be transitory, even though all the people that know how things actually played out were saying it wasn't going to be that way. So we'll see how we go with that. All right, cool. Let's have a look here. The Dow closed lower Friday, driven by a wreck in tech following a jump in Treasury yields after data pointed to growing expectations for higher for longer inflation, stoked investors' jitters further about the Federal Reserve rate hikes. The University of Michigan showed that the median expected year-ahead inflation rate rose to 5.1%, above the 4.7% seen in September. Climate inflation expectations, a closely watched metric by the Federal Reserve, comes just a day after data showed worse than feared inflation pressure. Remember, it was 8.2%. We see drivers of disinflation on the horizon, most notably from a reversal in vehicle prices and a downshift in medical services. So typically what happens, we've already had a technical recession with 2 quarters of negative growth, mild, but still a negative growth, which means that we're in a technical recession, not an official recession, I think that's been called, and of course, but we have been a technical one. And what that typically means is that we should expect some deflationary pressures from that. But of course, we've seen, obviously, that is a lag number. So employment, GDP, and exports and things like that. We've seen drivers of disinflation on the horizon, most notably from a reversal in vehicle prices and a downshift in medical services. Risks are tilted towards more Fed tightening this year. That's generally accepted. Don't see any change in that. Treasury yields climbed with the 10-year yield topping 4% as the odds for a 75% Fed rate hike in November are now almost fully priced in. I think that's pretty, but like I say, I think there's a wild card. We could see a 50 basis points if they're going to play the midterms, right? Because that would be more favorable to the incumbent. So we'll see whether they actually do that. So that's going to be interesting. At the moment, 97.2% priced in to move the federal funds rate up to 3.75 to 4%. Like I say, I think they're going to head probably to 4.5 and maybe 4.75 possibly. So that's pretty with the end there. And of course, if you add that onto 2%, they're hoping for some organic deflation as well from 8.1. So that would get us, get us down a bit to make that actually get us down to 2%. Obviously, it's all lagged, and of course, it has a harder impact on the economy. We already see retail interest rates up at 7.5%. So you can imagine adding, another 1.25% to that. You're getting up to 9% up in the retail rates. You can see the residential markets and commercial property markets starting to crack already. And of course, this can actually have a bigger than a hard landing. It can be really, really, catastrophic. So that's kind of what we're trying to avoid. That's kind of the worst scenario, but we can definitely see the seeds of that potentiality. So we'll be watching that pretty closely. Rising rates weighed heavy on growth sectors of the market, including tech and consumer discretionary stocks. And of course, some of the leaders there, Apple and stuff, and Meta were all down. Major Wall Street banks, meanwhile, kicked off the quarterly earnings season in earnest with mostly better than expected quarter results. So the banks typically seem to do well in a lot of conditions, right? So just the way it goes. I think we're going to jump through that. That is pretty much the highlight there on the old stock market. And not finishing great on there. But of course, let's jump over to the crypto market, see how that's gone on for the last day. And of course, it's actually holding up fairly well. The BTC is holding up at 19,182, ETH there at 212.97. Now, November's still looking like the time when the crypto market might get down towards that Richard Hart sort of 11K and pray. We'll see whether we get a sudden drop. Obviously, you guys know crypto, man. It can drop that fast, that quickly. We've already seen it twice this year with BTC. It was pretty dramatic. We could get down there in a matter of 2 days, maybe 3 days, and could be dramatic. So probably 2 days, something like that, could just go bum, 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 and down it goes. So let's watch out for that and so forth. A lot of people will say, I hope the market crashes and I'll be able to pick up heaps. And then I realize that the portfolio is down 50%. And they go, oh, no, what the hell? What did I want that for? It's just the way it goes. Isn't that funny? Anyway, so let's jump over to the Ethereum org here. So you can see, just as a comparison to Richard talking about the Ethereum proof of stake, we can see that we've got 15 million ETH staked here. Total validators at the moment on the ETH proof of stake at 443,706. The APR there, the annual percentage return, is like a flat interest rate compared to the APY, which is a compounding one, 4%. So not the best here. So just the way it goes on there. And people do look for other alternatives for high yield. Just depends on how much risk on, risk off there is at the time. Remember, risk on, risk off is different from Hart's Law. Hart's Law is really linking the liquidity pools and, of course, to ETH and BTC, the leaders. But risk on, risk off is a much bigger macro position, financial risk off there. So at the moment, that would probably look fairly attractive on the 4%. So cool. We've got other opportunities as well, obviously. There's solo home staking where you can set up your own 32 ETH, place 32 ETH and a dedicated computer, set up the software. But there will be staking as a service. And this is probably what we might see maybe from a lot of providers. This is sort of thing that some of our top devs might get into in terms of opening up pools and things like that. And you'll be able to stake with them. So staking as a service options, I imagine that's going to probably flourish on the chain as well. And then, of course, pooled staking as well. Several pooled solutions now exist to assist users as well. So this should sort of flourish, this booming part of Pulse. And of course, with the staking there. So pretty cool. And of course, there's centralized exchanges as well. And of course, Richard talked about OKX. And of course, many will just capitulate and follow. I've said that for quite a while. So cool. That's some of the options there. Thought you might find that a little interesting. I might post that in the chat here, just in case you want to do a bit of more homework. So cool. What else? We've got a couple other people in the chat there. So let's just jump to that before we get into the Hex ecosystem. We're going to be talking about the Hex prices and all that stuff, the Pulsechain project updates that we've been following at the moment. So we're shifting with the projects. As the project's got some news coming out, we're trying to shift with that and of course, get people into our Discord. If you want to learn more about Pulsechain and Hex, and then jump into our Discord, this is the way it goes. We've got some cool moderators and people that help, particularly if you're new to crypto. So pretty cool. My Paul says, alrighty, Zen. Yeah, that's pretty funny. DB Cooper in house there, lol. Zen is an old story, says Pac-Man. Yeah, Zen is yesterday's story, although we will be doing an update about day one of Avalanche and what's the Avalanche and what's the other one that launched? I've forgotten now. Avalanche and what was the other one? We did BSC, we did ETH, we did Polygon, Avalanche. And oh my gosh, I've completely forgotten the last one. That's funny. ETH Pal. That was it. ETH Pal. Ace Ventura says, check my pulse. Yeah, that was hilarious, those movies. Hex on ETHW is crapping. Yeah, we're going to have a look at the Hex price on those chains too. Hex is the goat, says DB. On the ETH chain, yeah, on the ETH chain. Let's get the midterms out of the way to call it for what it is and let the bottom come in. I like that, Scott. I like that as well. Patman says, did you know RH called the top? We did indeed. And of course, they said he's not going to talk about it again, though, until he, although he has talked about it again. It's funny that he said on his Twitter he wasn't going to talk about it. It's funny. Did he mention that on the interview? Probably, Pac-Man. I think he did actually. I like at the beginning actually. I like Hex says check my pulse. Me too. Hex, what's it? Hex is nice, very nice. Says check my pulse. What else there? We got ETH Power. Yep, ETH Power. We're going to be covering that. The poor average Joe is doomed the next year's. Damn, I see criminality rising. CI, man, that's pretty dark. CI, that's pretty dark. All right, let's jump over to the Hex Daily Stats. I think we've got KD's gifted out 5 Hex token memberships, folks. Grab up those memberships. 5 free memberships up for grabs. Definitely get those. It looks like we've got a few people. J-Man's taken one. CI's gifted one. Donatello, Tintop, and Check My Pulse all picked those 5 up. Well done. Nice. Thanks very much, KD. KD's one of our moderators in Discord. Also, not just for Pulsechain X, but also our subgroup of Texan Token there, which is in its final day. We're going to talk about that later. Let's get into the Hex charts, folks. Woohoo! Man, what a discount. Hex at a discount, down 4% at the moment on 24 hours. And, of course, at 3.115 cents. As I've said to you guys, this is the accumulation phase. You just never know when that parabolic's going to start going back up. We'll break the big triangle downtrend, and away we will go. And I definitely think we're in this accumulation phase at the moment. It could last 2 months, 3 months. And, of course, you got to get into it now. Obviously, Richard's indicated maybe the end of November, the end of the bear market. Maybe it could be is kind of his words. And, of course, if the Fed cools off with the interest rates, with the expectation forward looking after November, then maybe we might start to see that market start to move up. I guess there's a few other aspects around that as well with Pulsechain and other things. Now, you will get a copy of Hex on Pulsechain. And, of course, it's likely to have the big liquidity pools. And, of course, we do have these agencies that we say, the Origin account sacrifice wallets as well, big liquidity pairing. And, of course, we could see some pretty fun stuff there. We also have a huge amount of stable coins. Originally, it was about 660 million. Obviously, some of that's been moved into probably other tokens as well. But we still have a lot of that stable coins playing out there. No expectations, of course. That's just how we work. And, of course, we could see some things really happen. Rich has also indicated that potentially the Hex price might move when everything else is not moving. It's sort of gone on a dive. So you've got to be very careful. And, yeah, definitely accumulation phase. Remember, nothing I say is investment advice. You must do your own due diligence. I'm just giving my opinions and things that I hear. So there we are. So looking pretty good at the moment. Very, very friendly price. This is currently on the daily too. We've been in this range at the moment up to 3.5 cents. And, of course, we're currently just drifting down there. We got 2 lows here on the chart. Let's pull up the full chart here. We're just going in the local thing. We're still in the long term. We're still under the long-term triangle, so we still haven't broken out of that yet. I might talk about that tomorrow. At the moment, we've had 2 bottoms around 2.7, 2.8 back here in the 18th of June. And, of course, on the 20th of September here. So we've kind of bottomed out here twice. This is kind of looking very interesting. Now, we may have one more wick down. Maybe if the market does drop down, Bitcoin drop down to that 11K and pray, then maybe we'll see a wick down there. But, of course, the other point, this is on the linear chart, not the log chart. Just remember that. And, of course, we may see that. But, of course, it is a pretty juicy accumulation phase. We've often seen when we get in formations like this that maybe we'll get a rise back up at some stage, maybe in the future there, maybe late November, something like this period here, and it will start rising up. And then, of course, we might get a pullback, and then the next one's away you go. So we might see something like that. So a sort of a zippy. I'm not going to do any drawing because you guys know what that looked like last time I did it. But maybe we'll accumulate zone here. Maybe we get a dip down if there's a dip down November. And then, of course, a rise up, and then a pullback, and then a rise out we go out of the gates. And, of course, if we get Pulsechain V3 coming out, that's very bullish. People would be excited about that because we know that's going to be short and close, pretty much tight. And then, of course, away we go Pulsechain. So just be careful at this time, in terms of dollar cost averaging. We obviously a nice accumulation zone, dollar cost averaging, all that good stuff. So you can also set limit orders as well. If you think there is going to be a dip, that's up to you. We like people to get the opportunities. And yeah, very, very nice here. All right, so let's jump out of here. Let's have a quick look at Maxi. Maxi is at 6 cents, just over 6 cents, almost 6.1. Let's have a look at the actual premium though. And of course, this actually pulled down. This actually pulled down with some of the whales selling. Remember, it's kind of like a slow sell the news. It's like buy the rumor, sell the news, but really not quite like that, right? So technically, 92 million Maxi was pretty much redistributed to the burn. The 369 reward address, and of course the mystery box, and of course that's about 32% of the supply. So it's really changed the supply, which lifts up the premium over a Hex per Maxi. But of course we did see some whales sell down here. That caused a cascade. It failed to recover, and whenever you see that failing to recover, you know that it's probably going to drift down. It's done that. It got down to 1.71 the other day, which was pretty nice. It got bought back up. Currently at 1.96 Hex per Maxi at the moment. So we'll be watching that pretty closely. I kind of feel it's going to be difficult to move down, I think probably below 1.6, but currently at 1.96 there at the moment. Let's jump over to Maxi Team and have a look at the premium here on this one. So this is the Hex ecosystem charts, if you're not familiar. Currently at 1.14 a team to Maxi. And man, that's crazy. Look at that. 1 point we were down. We're way up here at 2.42, down at 1.14. And now team is the DAO token for the Maximus. So we'll be looking at that pretty closely. And Maximus, of course, is the 15.2-year stake, which is the 30th biggest stake in Hex. So a pretty big bad boy. In fact, in the future, it's going to be one of the whales, basically. It's a big wallet. And, of course, they're going to dominate the Maximus. The Maximus, the Hex Gold Whale, people like that out in the distant future, they're going to be dominating in terms of the Hex. They're going to be the big Hex whales there. Probably be even, what's the other one? 10% of supply. It might even have 10%. Who knows? But it's interesting maths there. Poseidon. It couldn't even be Poseidon. Who knows? We'll see how we go. It's a long way since till that time, of course. We've got the Hedron here. Now, Hedron is one of my, as I said, how did that come up there? I'm not even sure how I did that. Now, Hedron is one. I've got 2 probable plays and 1 possible play, but the possible play is about as good as it gets in terms of gamification. So the 2 probable plays, the first one is Hedron. And, of course, we can see that that's holding its upward trend, looking really nice. And, of course, this moved earlier than expected because of the Poly Maximus product. That's where Dipcatcher and Gold Key are going to be getting all the people with small players with Hedron and bigger players together with the Poly token, and then being able to bid on the Hex HSI stakes coming up on the 13th to 14th of November, and which keeps going on for 2 weeks, and then a nice tail end because there's been HSI stakes all since then being sold to the ACOSA contracts. So it's going to be a big deal. Something like potentially 60,000 T-shares, over 5,000 HSIs in that period, particularly about 2,500 on that first day, the 13th of November there. It's going to be a big day. And, of course, we're looking forward to that. Now, Dipcatcher's been programming. I think he's done 10 days or something. The code is finished. We're going to talk about that. So that's all pretty cool. And it managed to pull back here. So this is looking really good. We're on the 15th of October. So we've got just less than a month now away. Something like, 28 days, something like that, away from this event. So this is looking good, this chart. And, yeah, looking forward. This is one of the 2 probable plays. Obviously, not investment advice. You need to do your own due diligence. But we're just making our opinions here. The ICOs at the moment is at $1.03, and that's moving with Hex pretty much. And we're not going to go through all the other ones. These are the perpetuals, the Hex Base, the Hex Trio, the Hex Lucky, and the Hex Decky. We'll do that on certain days, but not every day. But they're there as well. Let's jump over to the Hex contract and look at the whale bot. The last 24 hours here, we had some nice penalties come in for us. So if you staked Hex, hex.com, check it out. The link's in the video description. The best savings product in Crypto Planet here. And, of course, check it out because you're going to have 2-for-1 on Pulsechain as well. And don't forget to do your investment due diligence. It's pretty easy to do. There's a how to buy guide as well on that site. So check that out. And, of course, if you get T-shares are the main game. They're kind of like the ownership certificates, as you were, of course, of the reward pool in Hex. And, of course, you get penalties on top. So when people early in-stake their investments, for example, or stakes, you get penalties for that. So it's pretty nice, as well as the inflation. It's pretty cool. All right, so cool. We had some big, large holders in stake there. 10 million Hex stake for 542 days. Very nice. And, of course, they got 536 T-shares. Obviously, Ivan on Tech, we've covered that at the beginning of the live stream. We also got, what else have we got going on here? We got 9.5 million Hex sold for $300,000 5 hours ago. What else we got there? 1 million Hex in state. Boy, just slightly earlier, 2,294 days, ended 994. Got a negative ROI of 29.5% on it. Wow. So maybe that's been compromised, that wallet. That's typically what we see. Sometimes people may do it because they're still getting a decent amount, but we have seen a few of those recently. Remember, always take your wallet security very seriously, and there's a number of ways of doing that with hard wallets and things like that. All right, so cool. Don't interact with I would keep your crypto off mobiles too, is the other thing I would probably do. 7.6 million on Hex sold 11 months ago for 235,000. So a bit of sell pressure at the moment, which is always a good accumulation buy opportunity. So there we are. That's pretty much that. Let's jump into the rest of it. We're going to jump back into the charts there. Okay, we're going to come back to the others. Let's check out Ethereum Hex on ETH Pal now. So we're moving from the Ethereum network to ETH Pal. And of course, we can see the Hex is still number 10 here. We used to dominate these top 10, remember, on the ETH Pal network. And now we're at number 10. So Hex versus that WETH is really ETHW. It's just the naming convention's just not updated there. 000447.9. So we're down 19% on the ETH chain there. A $98,000 liquidity in the main pair. And what else? 16K in volume over 24 hours. So this is like a bit of a DGM play. If you did have your Hex stakes, you would have gotten them copied over. And of course, that's just the way it goes. Volume's down probably half of what it has been, 2.3 million on the whole chain, 7,500 transactions. So that's down quite a bit. We have seen it get up to like 5 million or more. We've seen it get up to like 50,000 transactions. So really a soft day there on the ETH Power network altogether. Stablecoin, of course, the USDC there is on there. Obviously, it looks like the keys have not been were pulled off. And of course, we've seen the stablecoin operate on there. So that's pretty cool for ETH Power. Obviously, on Pulsechain, we potentially could have a lot of these main players with the stable coins. It looks a bit more optimistic now, especially with the ETH Power. But of course, and if we get centralized exchanges as well, if they don't move straight away, obviously USDC initially said that they weren't coming on, but they may capitulate. Let's see how it goes there. Who's going to miss out on the main chains? They'd be madness, both centralized and stablecoin providers. But we don't. It's not really the biggest deal. We'll have a lot of decentralized stables. I've already talked about that. We've got USDL. This is not straight away, though. 4 to 6 weeks later, USDL. We have CST, the Coast one. If they get that up and running with all the regulations, that's probably the biggest thing around there. There'll be a fiat back one. And, of course, I like those. Those are the two best models, USDL and fiat. Those are the two best models coming on. And, of course, we'll be looking at that. That's non-custodial as well. So we could have that CST token. I'm really looking forward to those two. Really cool. You need DeFi to flourish. And, of course, you need stablecoins to do that. So excited about that. But, hey, I think we've got a bit more optimism about where the USDC might head and USD Tether. We'll see how that goes. The other thing, of course, is we've got other ones. Maybe the BankX one may be okay. The model's a hybrid between like 4 or 5 projects. We'll see how that gets on there. There's going to be multi-chain. They're going like 15 chains or something. It's pretty crazy stuff there. So we'll see how that gets on. And yeah, I heard of another stable coin that looks like it's coming as well. So we could probably have at least 4 native ones as well. So it's looking pretty good. Let's jump over to the Ether Fear one. So Ether Fear, let's have a look at liquidity on here. So top liquidity, let's look. Hex is still dominating. Woohoo! Hex is dominating. And actually the price looks like the same as the ETH Power at the moment. So it's up 26%, whereas the ETH Power was down 20%. ETH Fear is up 26%. And, of course, the volume is pretty small, though, right? 3,400 volume. And, of course, on ETH Fear, we got 16,000. So 4 times volume on 24-hour basis, but the price is pretty much the same. How about that? Is that hilarious? Okay, so cool. So anyway, if you've got copies of your Hex stakes and things like that, or Hedron or Coz or whatever else you got, you are earning interest if it's staked and things like that. So it's that's relative to the price. But it's cool. You got 3 chains, and of course Pulsechain's coming. Your ETH stakes will be on Pulsechain, and of course that's probably going to have a battle, but probably become the dominant chain. The Hex chain there for the Hex on Pulsechain will become the dominant one. It's probably reasonable to expect that. And of course, Richard's going to probably tighten those. Make big giant liquidity pools between ETH and Pulse. I actually expect both of them to do pretty well. So it's going to look good. Welcome to the best ecosystem. Not only top of that, you're not only earning amazing stakes returns on multiple chains with Hex, but you get so many airdrops come to you. people want to drop this community with airdrops. So and that's pretty amazing like that. And of course, with Pulsechain, we're going to get the same sort of thing. If you've got Genesis wallets and Pulsechain, probably get lots of drops. You've got to be careful. We'll have obviously and devs, go through that, but it's exciting, man. You just keep making. It's pretty cool. All right, so cool. Let's jump over to, I think that's pretty much that. Let's jump over to the other charts. We're going to go into the airdrops free claim. And of course, Pulse Dodge is my second probable play. So the first probable play, Hedron, in the month ahead. The second one, of course, is Pulse Dodge, and this is within the week ahead. And of course, we've been talking about this probably within this week ahead, maybe next week sometime. What day is it now? Yeah, probably next week sometime. And yeah, very excited about this. Now, I understand that the order is 20% through. And of course, we have looked at the front end for the Pulse Bitcoin. And of course, we can see the price is just slowly creeping up here with higher lows, nice uptrend here on Pulse Dodge. So this is my second, the other play, two probable plays at the moment, looking really good. And yeah, we'll see how we go. Now, some people talked about having to burn PLSD for the Pulse Bitcoin miner. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's definitely the chart itself for Pulse Dodge looking pretty good there. We'll see whether it tackles the all-time high of $9.53, and maybe it has a chance of getting up to that $13, $14 mark. And I've seen people talk about potentially $18 or $19. We'll see. We'll see with that, but definitely looks pretty good to me at the moment. And with this launch coming up potentially within the next week, it's going to be a fun. And apparently the order is progressing. So nice. We'll let you know as we get more info on that one. So that's the second probable play, and very exciting. Now, the weight token, of course, people are able to claim that. Most people were waiting. I think we're like at maybe about 130 million or something. It's probably about 1.2, 1.3 billion accrued. Obviously, there's 8 different sacrifices that qualify for the weight airdrop, and of course, you can claim it at any time. The longer Pulsechain is, you've got to claim it for Pulsechain, but I think that's pretty much that. So we're going to be looking at this. Now, this is also related to the Coast. Coast has got 3 tokens related to the CST and another token as well. So we're watching that ecosystem play out. So very, very cool. Now we're going to get into we're going to jump away from Zen. We're going to come back to Zen briefly, but let's get into my speculative play. And of course, this has played out like a dream up and to the right. And of course, exciting times for this one. The world's first fully decentralized crypto casino or iGaming, however you want to talk about it, on the blockchain. And this is you are always chasing some of the greatest innovations in crypto. This is one of those, right? So these guys have this is a first in crypto. These guys are really changing the game, peer-to-peer as well. So better returns for people. No particular house as well. So it's pretty cool. And of course, some people, if it's roulette, they get to own the tables. Look at this chart. And of course, not many people that have got in on this, and they're all very happy. And it's just warming up, in my view, because we've still got a couple of days to go. So let's check out on some of the updates here on the BNB. I'm going to close down some of these other sites here. Let me close that down. BNB. These are some of the updates on BNB Pot. So I'm going to post the links here. Now, you can get all the access to all these links here in the new token chat here. If you go to new token links, you will see all the links here to the BNB Pot here. So you got the site there. You can go and buy, stake. You will be able to play games in a couple of days. We're going to check that out. There's also the price here chart, which I'm showing you at the moment. And of course, my video I did on the fundamentals, it's got the best fundamentals I have seen. And of course, when you go through this video, you'll go, OMG, that is good. Now, the only caveat to that, of course, it's a volume play. So you need to attract your target market and volume. And of course, they play. And some of the games are pretty amazing. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So very excited for this. I may have some news coming up about this project too. So hold on to you for that. So let's have a look at some of the updates that we've had on here in the last few hours because it's been pretty cool. Obviously, they've been posting stuff around the chart here. Obviously, with the Hex, Zen, Hedron, PLSD, all doing pretty well. But BNP shining out there, 20% gain. Amazing. And of course, it's way higher than that now. We see Hexkins are smart. They understand what happens. 1 million low supply. So very, very critical. 65% locked away and product market fit. Now, Richard Hart always talked about product market fit, and this one does. There's a lot of different types of inflation tokens, but you've got to have one that's designed with good market fit. And of course, this is in the crypto space of crypto casinos. This has a market fit like you wouldn't believe. It is the world's first fully decentralized peer-to-peer crypto casino. So it stands out by itself. It's a first of its kind. And of course, look at the market going up, up and away. Very, very exciting. Now, obviously, they've also launched, because the Zen just came out. Of course, that was very trendy and very excited. People were excited about that. It was very much the wave of what people were talking about. They ended up putting out a Zen roulette. Can you believe it? These guys are so fast with a max bets of 5,000 European style, 3% fee, and that's pretty cool. So we're going to have you quickly check and see where that's gone up there. 3 hours ago, there was 1 hour left on that auction. So let's see what it went for. Obviously, the value of Zen is low, so I'm not expecting it to be too high. I haven't checked it since that time, but let's check it out. This team is quick onto it, man. So let's jump onto that, because I haven't actually checked the actual result of that. So we're going to check and see how much that sold for. The other NFTs that went for the roulette table sold for lots of Ethereum. We're talking about, I think the top one was maybe like 50, 60,000 Ethereum on the ETH chain there. So pretty interesting. This one here, 4.75 ETH here. It started off at 1 ETH, but won by Wolf of Warsen from the looks of it. So that's pretty exciting. It looks like it went for 4.72 ETH. So well done. $6,000 for that. Pretty crazy. Of course, people, if you win these tables, you become the house for that particular table, that roulette table, and of course that token. And of course, you need to fund it as well. So you need to fund it. And so very, very excited. World first, man. Not been seen. Very excited. All right, so cool. Remember, BNBPot is formerly was Pulsepot. Now, they wanted to launch on Pulsechain first, but Pulsechain is not ready. So they've launched on BNB chain. That we were launching on 5 chains. Obviously, Pulsechain will be the next target, particularly if it's closer to launching. So very, very excited. They get all their products up now, and there's basically copy and land it there. Now, if you sacrifice for this, you're getting a copy of your tokens on each and every chain. So amazing. So let's get on to it. So we've got the price chart here at the moment. Look at this. Woohoo! Rocking hot dogs, man. We're in a bear market, but when you've got a good market fit, a good design, and then look at what happens here, $21.32. Now on the platform, and we're going to jump over to the platform. The platform has got let's have a refresh here, because I probably haven't refreshed it. 3 days and 23 hours to go to launch. Woohoo! Hot dog. So I'm very excited about this. And of course, the staking. Let's have a look how much is staked. Yeah, boy. 66% is staked. If we include the team wallet, we're probably at about 71%. And this includes the participation wallet. There's some confusion by people out there that the participation wallet, which is 100,000, that's the first incentives to give out to people that are playing, that was in the staking. But that's actually included in this. I've checked that on the contract. You can actually go to the contract itself and use the read-only functions and check what's staked, including checking the participation wallet, which has 100,000 BNBP to give out to people who are playing the game to start off with. So it's a big incentive for people to play, on top of the awesome gamification, which by itself is just people just play for that, right? So it's got a higher payout, so pretty cool. We're expecting the jackpot to launch first, then the roulette. Remember, this is different from a safe investing projects, a relatively safe investing project like Hex, which is really about staking and getting a really amazing return. This is in the GameFi market. It really is crypto casino speculative. There's a lot of it's a huge market. So you got to remember, you got to separate those two things out. That's why I call it the speculative play at the moment, because it's going to be, amazing. So everything's designed incredibly. The only caveat, of course, it needs volume. It has all the incentives to drive volume. But once again, that is the thing there. So looking pretty good. Obviously, from a staking point of view, incredible, and away to go. So we're expecting the jackpot out first. This is pretty much, I haven't seen this game around before, so I think this is going to be pretty cool, where people will go in proportionally. You've always got the same fair chance, obviously, to win based on how much you put in there. We're going to have the roulettes come out. Obviously, we've seen all the auctions that come out, so people put their tables on. Looking forward to see the UI, how this plays out. It's going to be pretty cool. And then, of course, we're looking at Fortune Wheel as well. We've seen the auctions for those as well come out. Then we're expecting price calls. And then we're expecting sports betting, and then probably we'll get slots after that, and then possibly tables, or possibly bingo. So people are talking about bingo in the Telegram apparently, and I think bingo would be a big hit too. So very excited about that. But the staking is looking like a boss there. 66% already staked, plus the team wallet on top, maybe 71%. We're going to get a rush. We've still got 4 days to go. I imagine we're going to get a big rush for that staking, because you get the share of the profits. And you're wondering why such a high staking is because of the share of the profits there. Now, it's incredible. So if you like Pulsex on Pulsechain, you're going to like this, because the dev is just a genius. Check out my video on the Pumpermentals. So here it is here. BNB Pumpermentals are epically insane. They're just amazing. And, of course, check that video out. It's pretty cool. Under new token links, under Pulsechain projects, on our Discord, the links in the video description. Get in there, folks. We are heading up towards 850 members, I should say. So get into there. So cool. So that's pretty exciting. This is the my speculative play, my Spotlight project at the moment. 75% of the profits will be going monthly to stakers. That's why so many people are staking. But on top of that, 20% is going to a daily, not a monthly, a daily buy and burn, just like Pulsechain, a buy and burn. Much bigger mechanism than just a burn, a buy and burn. So we'll be buying up BNBP, making it more scarce. So if we've only got a 1 million, it's going to be going down, 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 down. And of course, remember, it's going to be burning the liquid stuff, not the stake stuff. And so we already got like 70+% stake. Maybe we'll get to 85% by the time we launch. So it's really burning the circulating stuff. Burn, baby, burn. And so it's going to be pretty exciting there. And 5% goes to a lottery, a weekly lottery. So if you're just holding BNBP in your wallet, you get a ticket into the lottery, basically. So very, very exciting about that. But on top of that, they're going to have a BNB pricing, which is basically $30. So at the moment, we see the price heading up towards $30. We're $21.28 at the moment. And of course, making new highs here. We're going to have on the game, it's going to have $30. When the market price, if it reaches $30, then the game price is going to go up by 10%. So it'll be $33. So the higher the BNB is going to be, the higher the price. The more people that staked, it's more self-fulfilling too. And away it goes. So cool. But if you're wondering, how do you attract players? Well, you're going to attract players with this mechanism, because if you're buying on the market, you're going to be getting much more value in the actual game, because you're going to get that too. The fees too, if you're a player and you're holding, then not only do you get $30 play value, but you also, if you're holding BNBP in your wallet, you get a fee discount for playing. Instead of paying 3% to the profit thing, you're going to pay only 1.5%, somewhere in between that mark. It's pretty cool. The other thing, of course, is that there'll be a players distribution incentive of 1 million. And of course, that's in the participation. So we're going down to the bottom there. So for every, in the jackpot game, which is the first game to launch, every jackpot will have 1 BNB bonus added by default. For every $100 in the pot, 1 BNBP is added to the bonus, maximum of 50 BNBP per jackpot per game. So every game runs about 5 minutes long. So it's going to be pretty crazy. This platform is going to be just generating lots of activity. Only the winner of the jackpot wins the BNB bonus. And of course, the participation phase ends with 100,000 BNB have been won. That's 10% of the supply, folks. And the BNBP bonus tokens, however, will only be distributed once all the tokens have been won. So there's delayed before this stuff hits the market. And of course, then it becomes self-fulfilling. Stake it, get the profits, and of course, the buy and burn, everything else. So it's going to be pretty cool. Now, on top of that, of course, if you think the players getting benefits, the stakers are getting benefits, there's actually a referral program, which is brilliant, because that means that people just want to spread the word and, of course, attract the volume, which, like I said, is the only caveat, right? It's got all the incentives, but the only caveat is the volume. And, of course, earn 10% of all BNB to your referred players. So if you refer and a player comes on and wins, you get 10%. So pretty cool, because the game's pretty lucrative, and away you go. So that's just on the jackpot. We got the roulettes coming. Very excited, man. And, of course, the gamification. Check out my video, because there's way more fundamentals than I just told you. That's just the obvious stuff on the page there. So check that out. Very, very cool. Excited about that. And the price is also excited as well. Up at $21.22. Very, very cool. All right, we'll be watching that over the next couple of days. We have only 3 days and 23 hours to go, and excited about that. I'm sure there's going to be lots of stuff on the BNB pot coming up too, so stay tuned for all of that. All right, so that's cool on that one. That's the Spotlight project at the moment. And like I say, you can get all the details in our Discord, either under useful links, under Spotlight project, or under new token links here under Spotlight project as well. You can get all those details. All right, cool. Let's jump over to the remaining of the free claims. And, of course, we're going to look at the Zen project quickly. I think we're up to date on that, so let's jump out of all those. Maximus. I just want to talk about Maximus quickly first before we get into just a quick update on Zen. Poly Maximus contracts of testnet version 1 is done. Remember I said the HSI stakes are coming up in about 28 days. So these guys have got the Poly Maximus done. And basically, this is going to bring that pooled concept over that they were so successful on the Hex contract over to the HSI Hex stakes auctions coming up in November for Hedron and Icosa there. So pretty big deal. Poly Maximus contract testnet version 1 is done. This is on the 13th of October. We will start working on the dApp so we can do user testing and finalize contracts. So awesome. They've done lots of cool updates here on that one. Now, here's a cool chart here from Golkey. And of course, Poly Maximus here. This is an overview, the mint period. It's got the Acosa Hedron start stake, HSI auction, Hedron mint from HSIs, HSI end stakes, etc. So that's a really cool chart. I might post that in the video description so you can check that out. It's going to be pretty cool. So let's play that. Post that in the chat there. So check that one out. The other thing, of course, is they've got lots of cool updates here. We'll just jump through all these as well. Make your Hedron ready to ape in on Poly. Obviously, there's going to be a big deal. These guys are going to group everybody together and, of course, go and bid on these Hex HSIs and, of course, become a big whale over there too. So it really helps the little guy step up as well as anybody else. Really, really cool. So they had a video 19 hours ago on the HSI bidding strategy. Well worth watching if you're going to participate. Listening to that. Maximus Team of Perpetuals dashboard. There's a new dashboard to check that out too. So I'll post that link in the video description if you want to check out the new dashboard as well. Bam, and get into that. Both those links in the chat there. Yeah, instead of building a competing project the way most would, you'll choose to build something complementary, increasing auction leverage and pool share to the people while adding a value to both underlying layers. Glorious synergy. Absolutely. So remember this HSI Hex stakes that are coming up for grabs. It's going to be massive Hedron inflation. All the Hedron that wins those HSIs gets burned. That's going to be bullish. And of course, that means there's going to be massive Icosa inflation. And that means that if you're staking Hedron, Icosa, and you've got lots of NFTs, they're going to get a massive, big paydays that were a little bit like in Hex in November 2020, but kind of spread out over many days. Obviously, the biggest one on that 13th, 14th November there. So it's going to be pretty exciting. So awesome stuff here. Amazing opportunity, says Steve, coming up here, especially if you're really, if you already have some Hedron handy. So that's what I mean. Hedron's really one of the big picks because people are going to want to pick up Hedron. They can't mint it. They're going to want to pick it up. And so very excited about that. Obviously, do your investment due diligence and not investment advice. Obviously, Richard talked about this on the Icosa Hedron and the Maximus products on Ivan on Tech, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, much like Maximus Hex staking pools, Poly will be especially great for smaller Hedron holders, bigger Hedron staking bonus, more buying power for quality HSI Hex stakes, increasing liquidity for HSI owners, and of course 99.9% gas savings for ending HSI Hex stakes. So really, really good opportunity for you if you've got your Hedron, you're wanting to bid on these HSIs. Maybe you weren't going to, now you can more effectively. So pretty cool. Poly will be a liquid ERC20 token backed by multiple big HSI Hex stakes, earning Hedron and Hex, and a massive Hedron stake earning Icosa, which they've added on recently. That's pretty cool. We've seen how the market has priced in future yield for one stake. Imagine how the market will price in many. It's going to be fun. Very, very cool. They're also on PulseTube, which is a great site, a very neutral site. I love it. And of course, they've got their own page now. So definitely one of the top tier teams. And of course, one of the two preeminent teams on top of the Hex contract. We are expecting Power City Flex to come out at some stage. At this stage, still looks like they're going to be on Pulsechain. I would have loved for them to have launched on ETH as well, but we'll see where they head with that. Maximus says our goal is to launch more before the Icosa liquidation auction start. So if you're wondering about timing, November the 13th, with enough time for a mint phase, we will announce the official launch date after we complete the security audit, but aiming for the beginning of November. Okay, so if you're wondering around this when this will be available, beginning of November. Very, very important for the mint phase there. So they have to be there before the 13th of November, and they have to have all this up and running. So that is the timeline there at the moment. So cool. They've also had a couple of discussion chats there, and I think that's pretty much it. So pretty cool. That is the update from Maximus. So I thought you guys would enjoy that. Obviously, Texan token as well, just briefly. It's the last day to donate. This is the first endowment token on Pulsechain. And of course, they're launching on Pulsechain. This is also obviously a dual thing. It's a crypto onboarding people to Pulsechain. They're targeting 500,000 people of no coiners. And of course, we're getting involved with that, helping to onboard no coiners to Pulsechain. So they're now in our Discord. So you can go down to the bottom there. You'll see a lot of notifications from them. Of course, they're targeting 500,000. They're the only ones doing that, by the way. And this is big for Pulsechain onboarding. So we're going to be assisting them in doing that because we're really focused on multiple strategies to onboard more people to Pulsechain. It's going to be the biggest thing in crypto. And we want people to be able to participate that in the golden top products. Richard Hart's products are the golden part of crypto. There's tens of thousands of products, but you really want to be in the golden ones, and you'll be happy about that. Obviously, not investment advice. You need to do your own investment due diligence. But of course, we're trying to get people not wrecked and stuff like that. So it's going to be pretty cool. Now, all right, let's jump over to what else are we jumping over to? We're going to get into that. So that is the last day on the old Crypto Heartbeat. Now, obviously, you can get the details there on Crypto Heartbeat's channel there as well. And, of course, the links are in Discord. We've got a moderator, KD. He is also a moderator for Texan Token and, of course, the onboarding of people onto Pulsechain as well. They'll be building that up in the weeks ahead, as you will see. You'll see a lot of cool things coming from Pulsechain, and they're making a major role in that as well. All right, cool. Let's jump out of that. Obviously, we're going to get into the updates for Zen. So Zen, obviously, we did the final 2 coverages of the launches. We covered all 5 launches on this channel. And, of course, we welcome a lot of people that are Zen minters into the Pulsechain Hex community. And, of course, many of them are now in our Discord and, of course, learning more about Pulsechain, as well as, obviously, participating in the Zen product. So very, very excited about that. Now, we've got the Zen price here at the moment on ETH chain at $0.007938. We've got it on the BSC chain at 502116. I haven't actually bought in the Polygon pair, but I have got the Polygon pair there. I'll probably have to bring that in later. I'll bring that in later, but I've highlighted that. Now you can find all these links in the new token chat there. You can talk about anything you like in terms of coming onto Pulsechain. So Zen will be launching, will be forked over to Pulsechain too. So obviously it's done all these chain launches, but it will be forked over to Pulsechain. So let's have a look at the contracts here. We've got BSC there. We've got Polygon. So I've added the Polygon one here with the Uniswap version, not the QuickSwap version of USDC. QuickSwap has the Matic version, which is the main token of Polygon. And of course, we will have a AVAX and an Ethereum Power version contract. So I will post those here. So if you are getting confused, there are scam coins out there. And of course, the projects like this would get a lot of press and a lot of excitement. They often get a lot of scam contracts. So just be very careful out there. Read the whole contract and not just part of it. Sometimes they look very similar. And of course, this is the case for the Zen contract. There are ones with DDoE on it and stuff like that. So just be careful out there. We do have trying to post the real links in here. So we multiple check those. We get the right contract. We go check the blockchain and, of course, see what the liquidity pairs are trading on there and the holders and all sorts of stuff. So you can check these out here and then, of course, check them yourselves, right? So I check them and put them here, but you check them and you make sure that they're right too. So that's pretty cool. Then, of course, that's pretty much that. So let's have a quick look how this has gone at the moment in terms of Jack Levin. He's been posting a few things here about the gas burn as well. So new listings on PowerSwap Power. So they've got the Zen on ETH Power there is now listed on PowerSwap. So that's kind of cool for them. What else there? We've got Cointelegraph, a Zen proof of participation protocol, validates Ethereum merge. You got different opinions like that. This is probably the most interesting one here from FOMOT. And of course, this is about this is probably the most interesting post in terms of is bot minting Zen bad or good? Obviously, you guys have heard a lot about bot minting, especially from the centralized exchanges like MEXC, and this article talks about that. So I think it's a pretty nice perspective there. To XCNs, it says the bot owner is paying more money than you for minting, and they are by accident maximizing your rewards. So let's focus on your minting strategy with your financial abilities. You also benefit from the bots. Zen is a long-term game, and Zen is a hyperinflation period now. So the price will keep dropping due to the huge amount of Zen being minted every day. Trading now is not a smart move. You are good and early in the Zen journey, so please be calm. So you can check that out as well. That is on the Jack Levin's channel, Mr. Jack Levin. And, of course, you can get access to that on here. So that's pretty cool. So that's the update there. What else there? I think that's kind of, I think that's some of the highlights there. Jack says Zen minting difficulty compounds 1% every 30 days. The difficulty is adjusted daily. In 1 year, difficulty would reach 10%. In 2 years, 25%. In 4 years, 50%. In 8 years, almost 100% AMP. So obviously massive inflation at the beginning, but will step down every year. So that's kind of the play there. Obviously, it's a longer play and what I call a possibility play, not a probability play, right? So in other words, Hex Pulsechain probability plays, Hedron a probability play, Pulse Dogecoin probability play, and of course, this is a possibility play. So just remember that there's a risk-return trade-off, and of course, this has its time to go. So just remember that one. So cool. I think that's kind of the highlights I want to highlight there on those, but there's a couple other posts there you can definitely check out. And of course, he does highlight Zen crypto project has rolled back Ethereum coin supply 20 days back to September 25th as new proof of participation protocol users pile in. Now, I'm not really into this narrative myself. Definitely, it's obviously a net good This particular narrative, part of the narrative, I don't know a big fan of, but that is definitely, if you look at the net, it's good for the chain, but not so good for the participation. So just the way it goes. But I think that's probably it on that one. I think so. Yep, that's it. So that is the quick update on Zen. Let's quickly go to the platform. Now, obviously, we covered the launch of Avalanche and Ethereum. So we're going to quickly go through the Ethereum one here and see where that is at the moment. But, of course, we're going to get to the two new chains. And this, let's see how we get on here. So there's 941,000 people on the Ethereum chain now. The max term is 398.7 days. AMP is 2,994 days. Remember, that goes down one a day for 8 years. The EAA goes down for every 100,000 wallets. That goes down by 0.1%. That's down at 9.1%. And the APY for staking goes down every 90 days, 1%. So that's pretty much it. Probably the more important number is the liquid supply. 25 billion is liquid at the moment. And of course, it's dominated by the exchanges, especially meaning that botted. That we have seen, I think, a slowdown there. I haven't checked lately, but that definitely looks the case. We've got 1,539 active stakers and, of course, only 767 million staked at the moment. Remember, a lot of people have minted further out. We did have a lot of people mint just for 1 day, 2, 3 days trying to play the short game. And, of course, I think a lot of that's slowed down. So just the way it goes. We have got the price on here. So the price on there is currently at 4076. And, of course, it's gone down as expected. There's no surprises here right from the beginning. We knew bots were going to be play. Probably the scale of the centralized exchange was bigger than most people thought, though. It's probably the one caveat. And, of course, we expect the price to plummet. The price actually plummeted slower than I expected on the ETH chain. Do you think this is slower? This is slower than I expected. I expected it to be sharper down, but actually just slowed. But that's still pretty bad. So just the way it goes. You have to play the longer game with this one. And, of course, people that minted out longer term, that will be the better play. Obviously, it's a possibility play, not a probability play, and just take that into account. It's pretty much brand new. Multi-chain strategy, etc., etc. All right, cool. We've got the BZN on the BSC chain, so let's quickly check that on the BSC. And let's have a look there. So I know that a lot of people probably minted a lot of watts. So this is way high. Look at this, 2.3 million. Also bot played, but the price chart looks different from the ETH chart. So just the way it goes. Obviously, ETH is more valuable. So that's probably the big determinant there. We got the 2.3 billion global rank. Definitely slowed down big time. And of course, this is one of the big things on these chains, that the actual minting slowed down quite dramatically. We're going to see what it's like this weekend, the first weekend coming up. And but definitely that network effect is kind of the best thing I like about the project. But of course, even with the bots in it, which is bots is definitely damaged. I think they should have definitely had a capture on the site. That would have been an easy tidy up. So I'm not surprised they didn't do that. It's probably the big criticism you could make. Why no capture? Just the way it goes. 417 days in the max term. And, of course, the log scale, remember in the chart there, multiplied by the global rank. And, of course, here we are at 417. And, of course, that gets really harder to go up, right? Doesn't it? So AMP at 2,997, and it goes down one each day. The EAA there at 7.7% dramatically. So this is the early adoption amplifier bonus, and it's going. It's disappearing pretty quickly. So it's going to reduce the inflation from that point of view. And so on. So at the moment, there is 94.5 billion supply on the old BSC chain. And of course, only 2,149 stakers, more stakers than ETH chain, because obviously it's much cheaper on this BSC chain. And of course, just under 2 billion staked. So there we are. That's the numbers. Let's go to the Polygon chain, which launched 2 days ago. And let's check out this. So let's have a look at Polygon chain. Man, oh man. So 1.9 million. This is actually doing a lot better. This is really lifted. It's had a really slow start, the Polygon chain. And it looks like the bots finally got on this chain. They were slow to get on there, but it looks like the bots finally got on there. Straight out of the gate. It was not growing that fast, but away we go. Now we've got 413 days now on this as well, and 2,998. So obviously 2 days have gone past there. And of course, 8.1% on the EAA. That's getting down there too. We've got 27 billion liquid supply and only 447 staked with only 70 million at the moment. But of course, it is a couple of days behind. Let's get to the two new chains we launched yesterday. And, of course, covered those, launched it last. Well, we didn't launch it, but we covered it. Avalanche C, let's have a look. And, of course, I wonder if he's going to do any more chains. We knew about these 5 chains. I wonder if he's going to go crazy and do some more chains. Let's see how we go there. 308,000 on the global ranks, much lower, and, of course, less bots, right? So this chain actually might do relatively better. If it's got less bots on it, it might do relatively better. Obviously, it doesn't have the big network effect, which is kind of what you want to get out of this. So, once again, This is the way it goes. 373 days on the max term, 2,909 on the AMP there, and 9.7 on the EAA. We've got only 780 million minted so far, but of course it's the first day results, and of course we've got 11 stakes with 600,000 in there at the moment. And of course, if you want to get, we'll have the price charts up there soon. So our price chart will probably be popping up pretty shortly. I like to give it a little bit of time before I post it, and I'll check that and probably add it this afternoon if I find any, if I find a proper chart for the Avalanche or AVAX one there. So those are the results at the moment. Let's jump over to ETH and see how that's gone in the first day. Let's see. And of course, let's see where we're going. Bam, bam. 477,000, so even better results actually. More people have minted there, and probably way less bots based on this. And of course, 382 term days, 2,999 on the AMP, 1 day gone, 9.6% on the EAA. We've got only 606 million has been minted, so it seems like less on a short day strategy. 10 staked with 1.5 million. So this one here on ETH actually looks better, doesn't it? Looks better, so pretty cool. And we already saw that it's actually on, you can actually trade this now, so very nice. I won't do it online, but I will check the pairs, and I'll put them in the Discord, and I'll be adding them under here, under the AVAX contract and under the ETH contract. I'll be adding those, so that's pretty cool. That's our summary on update for Zen, and of course 5 contracts, obviously a lot to talk about. There's the contract at the bottom, you can check those as well. All right, let's jump out of there. Bam. And of course we've got the Hex data stats. Bam, bam, bam. How are we doing? 1 hour and 26. We're killing it today. And of course, what we got there? We're on day 1,048 on the Hex journey. And of course, let's get up to the results there. 1,047 hot off the press. And let's get into it. Hex, of course, the ultimate savings crypto product on the blockchain. The gold products of Richard Hart. And of course, coming up to our 3-year birthday, it is like a boss. Check it out, folks. The link's in the videos at hex.com. Check it out and do your investment due diligence. The 14th of October here at the moment. Woohoo! 3.1 cents there, a discount at the moment. So you're getting 2 for 1. You're going to get a copy on a Pulsechain, and it's going to be one of the most popular coins without a doubt. Tokens, I should say, without a doubt. It's going to be pretty impressive. Down 2.4%. And of course, we've got the Hex payout. Now, Hex is all about getting T-shares. And of course, the payout today, very juicy indeed. 6.274 Hex per T-share. Thank you very much. I'll take that. And of course, the T-share rate, $768. 24,306 is the T-share rate. A dot day, no increase today. But of course, that's the first dot day out of the last 10 days. And of course, we did have that big stake, maybe that big stake with a negative return there. But that's where we are, 24,306. The average stake length is a massive 6.66 years. And of course, I heard some YouTuber on a show saying 7 years. And I was like, well, it's not 7 years. It's 6.66 years. Pretty important difference, I think, there. Anyway, 6.66, but it's a pretty amazing. And of course, it's just been going up and up and up. The APY, that's the annual percentage yield rate. Remember this, the difference between APR and APY is a compounding effect. And of course, we've got the yield, which is the inflation Hex, nominally up to 3.69%, but effectively it's lower. And of course, the emergency end stake there, the EES, as well, penalties. And of course, we like that. It's unfortunate. We like people to keep their responsibilities, but we also like the penalties. So we get 50% of the penalties. And of course, the APY there is 38.32% on an annualized basis. Isn't that cool? And of course, paid out in Hex. The Hex price will fluctuate, but we get that juicy Hex payment there. The amount of liquidity pool there up to 301.8 million, so back over 300 million. This moves around because of buying and selling. Also moves around because people add and remove liquidity. We've got the USDC in the pool, 10.2 million there, and 1,291 Ethereum. Let's jump to the T-shares. T-shares down modestly today, 823 to 10,481,550. Remember, Hex is easy to understand. We have a reward pool with inflation and penalties in it, and we have an ownership pool with T-shares, which stands for trillions of shares. If one of them, if they go up or down, then the Hex payout per T-share will change. That is Hex. So a reward pool, ownership pool. If they change around a little bit, then the payout Hex per T-share that you get every day will change slightly. So pretty exciting there. That is Hex in a nutshell. Let's jump over to some of the other staking at the moment. 9.73% of Hex is staked at the moment. And of course, that means it's really good. You get high APY yields from that. This is the way the Hex is structured there. And of course, the penalties, 3.3 million Hex and penalties. Very, very good day for if you're holding T-shares. You're getting paid the extra premium there as well. Now, one of the other things, of course, we've got wallets up 14. Stakers are up 60. This is my headline number, the staker number. Obviously, get out there. Richard Hart says get out there and do direct promotions. Absolutely. And of course, it just maybe dropping some leaflets around your local block on a regular basis. It normally takes 2 or 3 times, probably 3 times before you get a really effective result from that. But get out and do stuff like that, or whatever else is comfortable to you, maybe something online. Spread the word, hex.com. And of course, tell them about pulsechain.com. They're going to get 2-for-1 deal as well. Pretty exciting. All right, so total holders there, 501,915, and we're up to 175 on that number. And of course, 11 days ago, we hit that 500,000 number. Pretty exciting, onwards and upwards for Hex. Date is 10,048, and we're getting closer and closer to the Hex third birthday, day 1,095, 2nd of December 2022. And looking forward to that. Once we get past that, we'll be in our 4th year for Hex. Really is a big deal there, folks. So it's going to be a lot of fun. That is the latest and greatest. Awesome stuff. We've done some pretty cool coverage of that. Very excited, says Superman. All right, so cool. Let's jump away from all this. We're going to close out all these. Like I say, if you have not checked out Richard Hart's interview with Ivan on Tech, it is a very good interview. And check that out. I'll paste the link in the video description. Bam. We're coming up on an hour and a half there. We've just hit an hour and a half. Let me get into the chat, and we're going to leave it on here. Let me get in the chat. I might play out a couple of, might play the video again, but I will post up a new video with some of the edits. Sandy Beach says, let me jump out maybe a bit further behind than I thought. Let me get up to some of the comments. Let's get back up here. Hopefully the moderators have been doing a good job on the comments. Let me jump over here. I'm just trying to think where I got up to here. Oh wow, quite far behind here. Let me just go back up here. Boy, lots of comments today. I think I got up to that, so that was nice. Hex is nice, very nice. Let's check my pulse. What else there? Jump through some of those. Got up to CI there. Katie says, all good. Superman is the GOAT as well. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate that. And Seek the Truth has said, what's up, you Hexy bastards? Hey, remember, it's a family channel. On this channel, we're no drama and a family channel. So even if it's funny, we try to keep it clean. Just more Hex says, lies beneath there. Thank you, says, check my pulse. Shano says, my 5-day Zen mints are going straight into Hex. Yeah, nice one, Shano. So a lot of people are doing this strategy at the moment, going into different projects and trying to then sweep all that back into Hex. There's quite a few people doing that. And that's a strategy we like on this channel too. Obviously, that's, people want to accumulate Hex while the accumulation phase is on. Just don't get caught out. That's the thing. And like I say, I think we've got a bit more time. Just remember that. Don't want to get caught out when the Hex chart decides to move. I'm sure it's going to move pretty nicely. Thomas Turner says, hey, all, hope your weekend's starting well. Yeah, Thomas Turner, things going pretty good. I want a gift, says Christian. Yeah, we all do want those gifts. Hex will go under 2 cents with time, says Pulse Bezos. And bear market is not over. Yeah, well, I think we all agree with that one there, Pulse Bezos. Show us your drawings, haha, says Shano. I'm not doing the short. You're talking about my chart drawings? No. That's last time I did that was dreadful. Dreadful there. Check my pulse says, how do I use emojis? Just paste them in. You are a channel member, Hex Token channel member. Yeah, if you want to use the emojis in the chat there, you just have to become a member. Hit the join button. We've got Pulseskins, Hexkins, Rich Art Club. Get in there and you can use all the cool emojis that we've got in the chat there. CI says we maybe need to develop more the culture in this community. Also, to also dive into other projects and take profits there to store them in our lovely Hex. Too many people aren't educating themselves enough, says CI. Good point. BNB Pot, yeah, we talked about that. Man, it's super exciting. 80% are bear, says BTC 10K. 20% says we bottom. That is an indication that we are at the bottom, says Pac-Man. Rother says, Superman, what's first motivated you to create content? Because I love this Richard Hart products. That's where I pretty much started there. And of course, I've been following Richard since the beginning. I used to have, back when at the beginning, there used to be lots of Hex and Pulsechain YouTubers. We were all out there spreading our referral codes. I had a crypto channel. And of course, we were covering that. But a lot of our channels got rug pulled by YouTube. And Hexo's channel got rug pulled too, as I believe he ended up on D-Live. That's kind of the back then. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. I was back there when, was it Nightly, Crypto Nightly, or whatever was out there. Obviously, lots of people were out there. Let me think. Randy, I think Randy was out there at the time. Obviously, Trayvon. Number of things was out there. Yeah, heaps of people were out there at the time, at the beginning. So I'm talking about early 2020. All right, cool. Rothko says Poly is going to be a great long-term hold. 3x Hex ecosystem tokens to yield. Absolutely, Rothko. Well said, man. Check out the Hex versus Hedron chart. Looks like Hex could appreciate against Hedron. Says chance nicely. And of course, don't be like Hexo. Don't forget to mint your Hedron before in staking, says CI. Yeah, definitely mint your Hedron before your in stakes, Hex in stakes work or mature. Sandy Beach says, I think I'm going to stay a rich hard maxi going forward. Less stressful, says Sandy Beach. And of course, hey, Sandy Beach, you got more positions than anybody. I think Sandy Beach is the ultimate. Gets onto them quick. What else there? Rothko says, yes, using crypto on your phone is an insane risk. Yeah, I do not use it. It's really one of the easiest attack vectors. So I do strongly suggest you use a computer and, of course, a hardware wallet if you can. You can use multiple wallets too, or multiple account. You can use multiple wallets with different seed phrases, and within those wallets, you can have multiple accounts. But if you're interacting with something new, you really want to isolate that risk to new wallets with their own seed phrase. And don't, if you've got Hex stakes or Pulsechain sacrifices or Pulsechain sacrifices, don't interact with new dApps with those. You really don't do it. Just don't do it. Rothko says, no crypto on my phone. Only exception should be staker app using the read function. Yeah, true, Rothko. I agree with that. Yeah, agreed. No crypto on the phone. I was just curious. What else there? I jumped through some of these. Hex Gynecology says, note, sure how is in table roulette would make money given that price will only go down because of inflation design. Yeah, in the short term, I agree with you. The Hex Gynecologists. In the longer term, it's a speculative play. And of course, the volume will slowly die out there, but doesn't mean that people are going to necessarily buy it either. So that's cool. Hot doggy dog, says Katie. Yeah, I think that's what I say. Hot doggity dog. This chat is going to make it. I just know it, says Rothko. That's funny, man. What is launching in 3 days? The games. Yeah, so the games are launching in 3 days. The first game will be the pot one, and then, of course, the roulettes will, I think, maybe 3 or 4 weeks after, unless they surprise us earlier. So that's probably where we're going to head there. CI says, is Zen the way to go? A delay gratification to win and get more token amount. Later, the price will find a way, but we are too early to have a real IRF. Yeah, I agree with that one. Is that a return or a price, a real price? Yeah, true. What else there? There was no surprise in the price chart or the inflation. So that was well known at the beginning. So what's that? Archipelagos and house there? Do you know when BNB Pot gets rolled out to the other chains? No, I don't know that Archipelago. I imagine they're going to get a lot of these products out first. So I don't expect another chain straight away. They are wanting to target Pulsechain. That was the initial one. But of course, Pulsechain, we're still waiting for that. So I imagine Pulsechain will probably be the next one. If we get the timing right, we'll see what people are saying in the chat there. So cool. What else there? Better safe than sorry, especially if you're not trading. True. Hardware wallet plus PC equals easy. With the phone, it's harder. That's true. All right, let's jump through some of those. Let's jump through all those. Jump through all those comments. CI says trustless pooling is the way. Maximus, definitely. They're doing a great job with the Maximus team. I consider Hedron and Maximus part of the RH ecosystem. RH said they were good. Yeah, of course. They're second layers. So, and they've supercharged it. And the net benefit's been huge. And so I've had very strong opinions about that. And they're pretty much played out. So that's pretty cool. We're making pretty good calls on this channel. So I'm pretty proud of that. All right, so cool. Doesn't mean you get everything right, but we've been pretty good, pretty close. Do you know how to claim Texan token if you have Hex stakes and PUSD Sacrifice? Not yet. I don't know that, but jump into the chat and ask KD in the Texan chat. And of course, yes, there will be airdrops of PLS and Pulse Hex sacrifices and Hex sacrifices or something like that, or Hex holders. So yeah, definitely there will be a drop for that. So find out more there. PSI says small BNB Pot Alpha. Here we go, folks. So I only just caught up to this, which is 25 minutes ago. So thanks, PSI. Small BNB Pot Alpha planning to have a chat function on the UI to talk trash to each other. Oh, that's fantastic. Well done, man. Well done, PSI. I'm so stoked about that. That is such a good move. Well done, man. CryptoFile, thanks to the Spacebot demo, used it to get some EW into my Zen wallets anonymously, says CryptoFile. Nice. I think Monday, a Texan token will announce how much free claim we get. Nice one. Thanks, Sandy Beach. So, yeah, we've got a free claim for a Texan token coming up. So very, very cool for if you're Pulsechain sacrifices. And we've got, nice alpha there from PSI from BNB Pot. Let's jump through some of this. What else did we jump through some of this? James Bond still minting. You crazy, James. James, crazy. All right, so let's jump through some of this. We got Matt says, I heard Jack talk about the capture. He was saying it wouldn't work. Can't remember the reasons. Yeah, I imagine he had a reason for that, Matt. I just haven't heard him talk about it. That's it. So he's obviously done a lot of videos. I just haven't managed to pick that one up. So fair comment. What else there? Happy weekend, everybody, says Andrew. Happy weekend to you as well. Let's jump through some of this. And Thomas Turner in the house there. Good to see Thomas Turner. Pumped for the rest of the year. Good things are coming. Yep. And let me just full screen this, actually. Let me go, bam. And yep, cool. All my stickers are locked, says James. What else there? DCA for the win. That's true. Dollar cost average for the win there. What else there? I think we're pretty much up to date. All right, cool. That's pretty much it, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Woohoo! Rock on, man. Awesome Pulsechain updates. I'm going to play the video on the way out. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will post it. I've got to do one edit to it, but I will post it up on the channel here with the 10-minute video on all the Pulsechain updates from Richard Hart, the man himself. And, you know, these are the golden products, Pulsechain, Hex, and PulseX and things like that. So it's going to be cool. We're going to have a lot of, in addition to these products, though, we're going to have a lot of good top tier utilities coming on to Pulsechain. And, of course, you know, I think about some of those. They're amazing. Yeah, I'll be doing more videos on those too coming up there. Hope you guys have had a good time, and we will see it. Let's go for it. Bye for now. Peace out. Take care. Subscribe.
Like basically the devs are just, we're going to massage up the throughput a little bit, and we're going to massage up the gas a little bit, and it should be fine because we've got a lower like load anyway. And then we're going to burn 25% of the fees net so that you have much more burn than Ethereum has. And then I'll feel very happy. Everyone gets to do coins, higher throughput, cheaper fees. You know, valid and secure consensus network is audited as exists in the world, you know, and that's where we're at. And the good thing is our code, like, you know, because the merge didn't, it only changed, the merge offloaded certain parts of what Geth used to do to another EXE. And so like now when you're an ETH miner, you're a validator, you run 2 XEs, you run Geth and you run this other one. And so because it's isolated in that way, all of our code for like handling, injecting system state is still valid. So that's great. So this, you would think that it would like make it longer to market because you're switching to ETH 2.0, but it actually makes it shorter to market because those audits are done, and that consensus network is working live. And
but so the testnet, which is live now, that's still a fork of Binance Chain.
That's still, yes, correct.
Right.
And the V3 testnet that you're going to see come up is going to be a fork of the real mainnet Ethereum.
Yeah, and there you will massage the throughput. You're gonna increase the burn of each fee.
Exactly. So we're gonna burn the 20. So whatever you would have received as a validator, we're gonna burn 25% of that. Now I need to make sure there's no little edge cases because it's a little bit complicated, all this stuff, right, with slashing and everything. So I just have to make sure there's no edge cases. But like the general theme of we're just gonna burn 25% of whatever you receive net, and that's gonna reduce supply. It's pretty valid, and I hope we don't run into edge cases with it.
And what kind of improvement do you think it will be in comparison to ETH when it comes to?
I would just start. I would start at really minimalist with it. I mean, I would even be okay with not even, like, you should be able to do a 10% bump. You really should, because the network's less loaded anyway because there's less users on it. So you should be able to bump the gas 10% and lower the transaction block times 10%, and those two compound to like an 11% gain, or no, like more than that. I think it's like a 21% gain. And so you'll have a 21% like higher throughput, but you'll have like infinitely lower costs because the majority of the lower cost comes from just having less users to start with. So, you know, this idea that you need to increase throughput and lower block times to get lower costs is a little silly when like 99% of your lower cost is from just having less users. If you had the same number of users, then those would matter a lot. But if you have like 10x or 100x less users, those numbers don't matter as much.
Yeah, but users come quickly. We saw it with Binance Chain, for example. They come very quickly. All the bots, all the, as soon as people start, there's now infinite amount of arbitrage, and if it's low fees, then you can do it more efficiently, and you can act on more arbitrage. So the fees, as long as there is some activity and some trading.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I think that I think it almost might be so because of those things that you just said, it kind of defeats the idea that higher throughput equals lower fees. Because those ARB bots will just suck up the extra space, making their ARBs a little bit more efficient. So like this idea that you're going to get lower fees with more space, you're like, yeah, a little, but the ARB bots fight it. Like they suck that space up with like stupid other stuff.
I mean, there's got to be a lot of interest from centralized exchanges. Is that something?
I mean, like OKX wants to list it, and I'm sure other exchanges want to list it too. They just want to see it in the real world, and especially in the bear market. You know, during the bear market, these guys are laying off staff left and right, doing anything they can to generate volume because they're losing money every day. They're making money. They're losing money.
We have Enchanted again asking about the consensus, and if I want to be a validator, can I delegate, or I need
It's different now. So you're not, the delegation stuff, while awesome, it has some upsides because it removes that having to have 32 ETH thing and like having to give some keys to somebody else and like having to run a server and all that stuff. We're not going to have that now. And there's probably some guys that like were set up servers and ready to do that, that just they're gonna have to find something else to do with that hardware right now, because we're going to use the same consensus method that Ethereum 2.0 uses currently. So it's just better.
Yeah, and in ETH you have I don't remember what's called, but you have these contracts that can pull together ETH and they can stay there.
If people are smart, they can buy down the central counterparty risk using those methods you're talking about. But look, I'm not an expert on those, so I don't know whether they're really fake decentralized or real decentralized. You know, I hope they're really decentralized, but I've seen so much fake garbage in crypto that I'd have to look specifically into it. I want to get the market right. Like I don't want to dick around with like changing parameters or adding features. I want to get to market. Like even if we get to market without massaging the gas and the block timing, if they're so easy, I think we can just do that. But if they weren't easy, I would just go straight copy and fix it later. Straight copy, fix it later. Let's go. Get the market. Let's go. Free coins. Free coins. Cheaper. Let's go. Free coins and cheaper is enough. Faster, great if you have it, but it's not mandatory. Like,
Exactant in the chat asks about the stablecoin value on Pulse. And
well,
if they are breached,
USDC and USDT can invalidate all of the stablecoins on any fork because they have an admin key. But they didn't choose to do that on the ETHW fork. So cool. I think that the most commonly used stablecoin is going to be a bridged in stablecoin until they launch a native version on the chain. So you can get native USDC on Tron, you can get it on Ethereum, you can get it on AVAX, I think. So like there's other chains that have native issued stablecoins. They just care that there's a working consensus network and users, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw native stable issued on Pulse from the same guys that have issued them on other chains.
Yeah, they issue it on Tron, they issue it on all kinds of chains. So it would make sense that they also expand as Pulse chain gets traction. But what we will see from the beginning are all the copied ones. What's the game theory going to be, do you think, with stablecoins?
I really don't know. I don't know. I think that they'll have much lower value than the ones that are redeemable for real money. I think probably people will empty them for things that have more community traction. So you'll probably see people, I mean, look, my guess is you'd see people dump a lot of stables or copied stables on the Pulse chain. I think you'd see them dump for stuff that has probably traction like Pulse, PulseX, and Hex, because like my guess is that those three coins in the beginning will have the largest communities just because I invented it and I also invented Hex. And so like all of those dudes that already kind of know me and my stuff, they would probably rather be in the stuff they like than in the stuff that they don't care about. So like, that's my guess. My guess is that you'll see people dump coins that don't have great adoption for coins that do. And then maybe if there's like great price opportunities from like things just being underpriced. Because like at some point, like my gut feeling is that same code, same ticker symbol, price of Link goes up on the Hex chain, probably price of Link goes up on the Pulse chain. My guess. Same code, same ticker. After maybe they flop around a while, maybe they start to move together at some ratio, you know? Just like, look, why is Ethereum moving around with Bitcoin? They do. Why is Bitcoin moving around with stocks? They do. And so stuff tends to like move around with other stuff that's like similar. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw tickers on Pulse chain move around with more volatility than they're as a leverage position as the tickers on Ethereum, except for like straight failures. Like if you have an admin key coin that just like uses their admin key to nuke a chain, and then you shouldn't be participating in that anyway, should you? Like, should you be participating in coins that have admin keys? It's not the greatest idea, you know. Like this one guy can come and take all your money whenever he wants. Sucks. I would avoid that if at all possible.
So someone was asking about the snapshot of the state, and is that going to be at some date in the future when there's more clarity on the tech, or you have some data?
It's a real fork. It's going to be a real fork. So there's some delay, there's some lag because it takes time to write to the database, but we'll probably announce a block height within a couple day window. Probably. I'm just guessing on that because like we just want to make sure no one can game anything by like knowing the timing. So people don't need to know an exact time. I don't think a range of times would be fine. It would even be fine if we didn't announce the time at all. I think, but you know, I think for some people they'd like to know time. So I'll probably give them like in this range, we're trying to launch kind of thing, you know?
Makes sense.
Because maybe they want more of this one thing copied and, you know, because like, look, if you have your coins on a centralized exchange, you're not getting the copies, they are. I hate centralized exchanges. So like, it'd be better if you put the coins in your own wallet, got the copies yourself instead of giving that value for free away to the exchange that doxes you, makes you beg for your own money, etc. I hate exchanges, dude. Hate them.
How much will I need in order to stake?
32, same. I don't see a reason to change that.
Does it have to be connected?
We're trying to change as few parameters as possible. They're known working good. I don't want to change anything if I don't have to.
Well, does it have to be connected to the dollar value that it's, or it doesn't matter if it's $1.30 or?
Well, you can never tie it to a dollar value, or you have Oracle problem, central point of failure, scumbaggery. So it has to be native currency only, 32 ETH. You can never, in no blockchain can you ever tie something to a real dollar amount where you are a slave to whoever runs the server that tells you what a dollar's worth forever. I don't like that.
Yeah,
that's like robust, reliable.
that's if you need real time. But do you think when ETH picked 32, why 32? They probably looked at how much one ETH is worth, that it should be not $1 million, but also not like 5 cents, or is it fully disconnected?
Well, I hope that's not how they did it, because if that is how they did it, then I should change that number. I could go back and look at the EIPs and see like their logic on it. We could go and discover what their logic was on that, but I'd really rather just copy known good working things, because like you would actually prefer it to be cheaper, and it supports millions of validators out of the box. So like, I'll give it a night of thought. But like, what are we're not going to have 1 million validators off the bat. We're not going to have 1 million users off the bat. It'll take a while, you know. Like, you can always fix it later too. Like, we know it works now. Let's run with it. Let's go. We know it works now. If we start to get hiccups or any kind of weirdness, we'll fix it.
Franklin says, Richard, I used to work at Circle. They won't add USDC to Pulsechain unless they're able to KYC heavily. All the chains, with the exception of ETH, are centralized heavily. If you want to...
So KYC me, what do I give a fuck? You think I've never KYC'd before? Come get my docs, bro. I don't care. I've KYC'd before. You think I bought the fucking world's largest diamond without KYCing, bro? I didn't. But like, it really should hit 10 through 50. Really.
Nicole
really
is asking if we're going to do 1,000x in the first 300 days, 65 days.
How do I know? Do I have a crystal ball? I don't know. I don't know what it's going to do. Nobody does. It's not knowable. It could do something crazy, sure, but nobody knows what the probability of it is actually happening.
What about?
I mean, look, launching in a bear makes it more likely, right? Like, launching in a bear makes it easier to go up more.
Someone asked about Pulse X, and if there are any changes to liquidity incentivization. Let's see. Are there any updates on tokenomics for the incentive token for LP?
No.
On Pulse X?
Nope. No updates. You're gonna, there'll be rewards. If you like them, cool. If you don't, whatever. That's the black sheep token. That's the token I care the least about. I care about Pulse. I care about Pulse X, the incentive token. The incentive token that has not a name. It doesn't have a fucking name. That's how much I care about it. So like, it'll get a name. People will probably want it. Maybe they'll have a dog picture. Who knows? People like dog pictures. I care the least about that token.
Probably. Enchanted
small
says,
updates. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Basically, small updates. That's what she said. Small updates would be really appreciated, even if it's a tweet saying dev's still working. Can't wait for testnet.
Oh god, dude. Okay, duly noted, man. I got so burnt out about it when you guys savaged me from that one time estimate was given, and like, I got punished for that. I didn't deserve to be punished for that. I'm jaded now. Like, I don't want to tell you guys nothing now because you like were so mean about that. I'm like, damn. Okay, well, I just won't tell you anything then. Like, you don't need to know nothing. I don't work for you. What's done was done.